Hello everyone and welcome to another very exciting video. It's been a while that I haven't posted any video, and the reason for that is that we have been developing a very cool new editor based on the editor that we already developed, which was called Kodhus. You probably, if you've followed our tutorials, you've probably seen it. This is the kodhus.com/Kodhus, where you can create a new prototype and everything, and also take a look at the tutorials that other people have made. Pretty cool stuff. So today I actually thought that I'm gonna announce the new editor that we've been developing. It's actually pretty robust. It's much better than the previous editor, and I guess it looks cooler and better. So today I'm going to introduce this tool to you and let you know how you can use it. News for you guys who already have an account on Kodhus.com Kodhus. This one actually works if you haven't signed up through the social channels like Facebook. So if you've already created an account using normal mail and password, it's going to work here, and you still have all of your prototypes that you've built. So I just wanted to tell you that, and let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is to go to kodhus.com/codenest. I will put the link in the description of this video. What you see in the first place is the editor, and we think that that's the best way to start. So the first thing you have to see is actually an editor. Don't forget to go ahead and sign up. That's the most important thing. But if you don't want to sign up yet and want to try the tool, it still works. So we have obviously three editors here for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You have the options to toggle each of these editors on and off to have a little bit more real estate on the editor that you're working on. So for example, if I click on this HTML, you'll see that it's going to go away, CSS as well, and JS, but I mean, I probably don't want to do that. So at any given time, you can enable them. And the cool thing is obviously you can drag and drop to give it a better space as well in each of the editors that you're writing code in. And obviously you have a slider vertically as well to kind of have a better view of the output, or if you want to see a little bit more on the editors themselves, right? And also we've added this setting here, settings which you can pretty much enable, disable the show line numbers. So as you can see, you have your line numbers here. Maybe you don't want to have it, so it just removes that. And also there's this enable line wrapping. So if I, for example, type a piece of code, if the enable line wrapping is enabled, you'll see that it kind of wraps the lines over here, but if you disable it, you'll see that it doesn't. So it doesn't wrap, right? So let's put them on again. Here up here you have the choice of the layout. So the first or default layout is like this, and then if you want it, you have this tab layout as well, which in this case these toggles will work for any given editor that you want to work in, right? So this is pretty much like all the desktop editors that you use, like Sublime or whatever. The next thing I want to say is we added the functionality of searching, so you can pretty much click on this search icon and start typing, I don't know, maybe nice. Well, first things first, since I have created something, it asks, do you want to leave this site? So either you can save it, or let's leave it for now. You can see there is this one thing over here that is coming. I mean, this is a pretty new sort of service, so don't anticipate a lot of prototypes here. So let's create something. For example, here let's create div, and then with the class nice, I'm pressing tab here, it auto completes it, and this is CodeNest, right? And then in the CSS, I'm gonna say class nice, give it a background of violet, right? So as you can see here, you simply can write stuff like your code in HTML and CSS. Don't forget that we already wrap the HTML tag and head tag, so what you really need to do is only enter the things that you want to enter in the body. And though if you add that HTML and head and stuff, it's not gonna give you any error. And then obviously if you want to write JS, and This arrow over here on each of these editors give you some options like format HTML. So if you, for example, I don't know, let's just extend it to something else, div something else class, and this is something else. And let's say I just remove the indent over here. If I format HTML, you can see that it formats the HTML pretty cool. It also has it for CSS and JavaScript as well. So this is this icon over here. The next thing is these gear icons on each of these editors. And this is pretty interesting, right? So one more thing before going there, we also have code folding. So you can pretty much fold the code here using these arrows. And now let's jump on this. For example, for HTML, I'm going to click here. This pop-up comes up, and you have like HTML options already pre-selected, but you can at the same time change the settings for CSS and JS. So for the HTML, as of now, we have two preprocessors. If you're familiar with them, Pog and Hamel. Pog is pretty much the new name for Jade. So you can pretty much use Pog and save it. And well, you need to write the POG code, which is, you can just search for POG on the net if you're not familiar and see what it is. It's a preprocessor that lets you write code easier, and then it kind of pre-compiles it to HTML. So if I put nice, and then I go say something nice, and then put hi, this is code nest, you will see that it actually puts this. You can also kind of view the compiled HTML by clicking here. So you'll see this is the HTML that it generates. It tells you that it is compiled code. You pretty much cannot change this code. So I'm just typing, it doesn't work. And then you pretty much click on the view and compiled POG, and you get back to where you are. On the CSS side, it has obviously more options. You can use some, you can use normalize or reset. It pretty much resets all of your elements to some particular style. So for example, you want to remove all the paddings and margins as a default, and then add your paddings to each element. So for example, if I choose normalize here, if I save it, you will see that here the padding on the body will go away, and I can simply just have control on the paddings and margins of my elements myself, right? Rather than the defaults based on the HTML standard. And I can use reset as well, pretty much the same thing, or none, right? So if we save this, it just goes back. Then you have vendor prefixing. Basically, you can easily write your code purely in CSS, and for the styles that actually need some, love and help when it comes to other browsers. So for example, I'm using Chrome, so there are some obviously stuff like Moz transition. If you want to make sure that all transitions work in the Firefox, for example, or WebKit, you can pretty much just write transition, let's say all and 3 seconds, and then if you enable this auto prefixer, it actually starts working on all the browsers, right? And then obviously you have preprocessors. We support SCSS, less, Sass, and stylus. So go ahead and do a search, and we're gonna have some tutorials. We already had some tutorials on Sass and SCSS. Go ahead and search for these on the net and get to know them. They're pretty cool. And obviously you can also add some libraries. So we have Bootstrap and Foundation, but if you want to add an external CSS library, you can pretty much click on this add more button and paste the URL of that. Either it's a CDN or content delivery network link. You can pretty much paste it here, save it, and then you're going to have it in your prototype, right? And if I click here for the JavaScript, you will see that you have obviously preprocessor, nothing selected. We have TypeScript and Babel, or Bobble as they call it, and then you can obviously add some default libraries that we've already added, like jQuery. So for example, if I click on this jQuery, it will automatically add it as a dependency for this prototype, and then you can start using jQuery. And obviously you can add more and paste the URL to the libraries that you want to work with, right? So yeah, go, and then you have, like, you can log in. Obviously, let's just leave here. You have the availability to kind of enter your email address and password if you've already signed up. If not, you can sign up here. We do not have the enthusiast and corporate yet, but obviously you can go sign up for free. There is no cost in it. It just describes a bunch of things that you get, and then you can join now, and then obviously signing up. And with signing up, what you get is you obviously can save your codes, get back to them, and also there are like other things like you can set up some default editors. So, for example, if you know that you always use POG, if you sign up, you have the function where you can define, okay, I want every time I open my browser, I want to use POG. So you can set it as default. So, for example, if I search something here, I just press enter, and you can see a bunch of people added stuff. I can, for example, click on this one, and you'll see that it's the code that somebody has written, and it's like it does this. It's probably a copy of what we have had as a tutorial a year ago. So what you can do if you want to work on this, you can simply just fork it. So it basically creates a new URL for you, and you can go ahead and change stuff. Let's say you want to change it to blue violet, and let's remove this, just change it to blue violet. It just gives you, take a look at the world possibilities you will have by signing up here. Or if you don't want to do it now, you can click on I'm cool, I'll look at it later. And then obviously you can save the code, share it by, sending this to whatever social media website you want, or a friend or a coworker. So yeah, and obviously you can create on the full screen. You have a full screen view of it. You can export this to as a single file or as a folder to your computer. Go back to editor view. So it's a pretty robust editor. I encourage you to start using it. In the next tutorials, we will definitely use this. There will be more functionality. I have a request to make here. Please, it's in a beta mode. If you found any bug, just feel free to email it to kodhus@kodhus.com, or even actually put a comment here down on this video. We really appreciate it. We want to make sure that the service we provide here has its absolute maximum use. And yeah, so this was a pretty short intro to this tool. Um, if you have any feedback, go ahead and put it as a description, and we will see you next time. Have a great day and night.